Hello, artist. It's Thursday, May 28th. It is our 24th day of sketching together. Welcome back. Hopefully, yesterday you tuned in and you wrote your poem and finished your image. I'd love to see those illustrations. Here is mine. I finished it a little bit. I still didn't get any charcoal, but as I created the fog, I shaded more, and I created this person here, and I realized I really struggled with getting them to look like they were walking away or setting out on a journey instead of looking at me. So I've discovered that if I draw their shoes facing the other way, that already kind of gives me the opportunity to give that illusion of maybe they're facing that way. That way. So as I think about this image and I look at it a little bit more, I think of Ansel Adams, the photographer Ansel Adams, and I think about him, what he looked like, and what he would have looked at out into nature, out in the mountains, out into all those great trees, into that vastness that is the world as he photographed. And so maybe it's Ansel Adams or someone like him, some adventurer out there. And I realize now that I'm looking at it and talking about it with you, and I have his hand outstretched, I'm going to give him a walking stick. I see so many people at Oakwood out walking and using their walking poles, and I'm not sure the term for them. So those of you who have them, I'm sorry, I apologize, but they look really awesome. And I'm going to give him a walking stick. I see some people with a walking stick, with a traditional cool walking stick that they've found. So that helps to, I think, create that illusion that this person is looking out there and ready to begin. So I got a little bit closer to what I was hoping to create in that image. And for those of you who weren't here yesterday, I'll read my poem to you. Very short, and but it came to me. So it goes, the time drags on, the fog sets in, I stand alone, wondering when I can begin. So that was my poem. So today we are working with super words about ourselves. So we are doing, let me find it on the list here. What are your super strengths? These are our super strengths. So number 43, prompt number 43, what are your super strengths? Write them down and then draw a picture to go with your super words. So I'm not sure how far I'm going to get with a picture because I don't even know what my super strengths are at the moment. Let's see. I'm going to create a list here, and I hope you will do the same, creating a list about some of those things. And then I think I'm just going to create my image really quickly here on the page, and then maybe work with it more big, maybe in pastel or something on another page. So for today, I'll work on it small. So when I think of my super strengths, I guess I think of the word staying power. When I think about what does that mean, staying power, that I have a lot of patience for the most part, a lot of patience. I like to see things through and I can stick it out. I also think of myself as someone who goes the distance. And when I think about that, I think about there's no distance too far for me to travel for someone I love, or to go, whether it's 3 hours or 4 hours drive or however far. So someone who goes the distance, to stick it out and to see things through. Let's see, what's another? I guess another super strength of mine is creativity. I'm not the greatest artist. There are far greater artists in the world than me, but I think that what I know about myself and what I know about creativity is that it never runs dry, that it never runs out, that I can always come up with new ideas. I'm an idea person. I'm an ideas person. So I come up with lots and lots, probably too many ideas. I'm also a huge project person. I like to take on really big projects. Let's see. I'm passionate about the work that I do, about helping people, creating art with people. I always say that that's my art. When people say, well, what's your art? What's the medium you most love and choose to work with? My medium or my art form is helping others make art. That's what I do as an art therapist, and that's what I really love to see happen. My art can be set aside, but it's really about helping others create their art. Let's see, what's another super strength I have? Well, I was once a farm girl, and I didn't really appreciate it at the time because my dad made me work pretty hard. But I appreciate it now because I'm a hard worker. And no work, I will tell you, no work was ever as hard as working on the farm when I was a kid. The heat was never as bad, the cold was never as bad, and the work was never as hard as it was when I was 10 or 13 or 16 or 17. So let's see, it's a pretty long list of super strengths. So I have staying power, I have patience, I have someone who goes the distance, creativity, I'm an ideas person, I'm a projects person, passionate, was a farm girl, and I believe in hard work, I'm loyal, I think I'm kind. Let's see. One thing I love is stories. I'm a storyteller. Not a great storyteller, but I love stories. I mean, I can sit here all day and talk to you about whatever it is I'm thinking or feeling, whatever's going on in my life or what might be going on in yours. So I feel like I can tell stories. I'm drawn to stories. I'm drawn to the power of stories, of shared story, of how stories connect us. And I'm always drawn to the stories you share at Oakwood and how our lives are so intertwined, even before we know it. We somehow are connected. So I think I'm going to work with that idea. Actually, right now it's coming to me. I once drew a picture of. I love the story Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. In fact, you may have met my daughter a few weeks ago. Her name is Bronte. Because I loved the story so much, and I thought the name was absolutely beautiful. So she's named after Emily Bronte, and some people say Bronte, but we say Bronte, and that's how I hear a lot of people say it. And so my daughter Bronte gets very upset if someone calls her Bronte, because she's not Bronte, she's Bronte. So I once drew a picture of two trees intertwined, and this one is not going to be very good, but I've seen trees like that, two trees that grew separate and then wound around each other as they grew. And so I'm gonna do that with this tree. So why am I talking about that, and why am I talking about Wuthering Heights and Emily Bronte? Well, I remember drawing that image as I was writing an essay paper in college on Heathcliff and Catherine from Wuthering Heights. So when I think of that kind of tree, those two trees intertwined and never could be separated, I think of that story, Wuthering Heights. Maybe you've read it too, maybe you love it, and maybe you don't. Some people don't like that era of storytelling, but I'm really drawn to that Victorian era and those stories. Another story I'm really drawn to is Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. So any story that looks like Frankenstein, where a monster or a person has had decisions made for them and not made for themselves. Those are the kind of stories I really, really am drawn to. That also that those characters who seem like monsters on the outside but are not. They have feelings and heart and passion, and all of those things that any of us have or would want to have. Okay, so this doesn't really get to what are my super strengths, but when I think about being grounded, being the staying power, these two trees have a staying power. They're connected. So I think about I'm connected to people, and You know, I wondered how long that would take at Oakwood. How long would it take for me to feel connected and to feel a part of Oakwood? And it happened sooner than I thought. And that's such a great feeling, feeling connected. And through this time of this pandemic, I'm getting even more and more connected to people I would have never had the chance to meet otherwise because of, or maybe not for the next year or two, you know, over time I would have gotten to know more and more people, but it really has been this opportunity to get to know so many of you in so many different ways through this sketching with Jennifer project, as well as working the screening desk at Heritage, just seeing you and talking with you. And some of you I know say hi to me and don't even recognize that it's me, or maybe you just are on your way. But if you recognize me sitting there and you want to talk, please stop and say hello if you get a chance. If you're able to make it to the desk, or when you can. So I don't know what I'll do more about this. I was thinking I was going to draw some kind of superhero with super strength, but this really reminded me about that staying power, that strength, and stories. So I go back to that word, stories, the power of stories. That's not only a strength I find in myself, but that I'm drawn to in others, the stories that you share. So share your stories with me. I'd love to hear what your super strengths are. They're so important. They're so important to remember now more than ever how strong you are, what you bring to the world, and what you share with all of us at Oakwood. So share them, please, and let us know what you're making through your art. Okay, we'll see you back here tomorrow. Friday, it's the weekend already, and happy art making. See you soon.